It is Friday night, time for some straight talk. This is your host, Matt Hasley, coming to you June 17th. Hard to believe it's almost halfway. Well, we're over halfway through June. This year is almost half over. Tons of stuff going on in the news. We got the 116th playing of the U.S. Open, which is at Oakmont Country Club in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. And it is very tough conditions they're playing under. But whether they'll be able to get it in through Sunday. Might end up going to a Monday finish with all the weather. They just finished the first round today. And some of them still haven't even started to tee off for their second round. So I do not know if they're going to be able to get it in. But right now, currently tied at 4 under, Dustin Johnson and Andrew Landry. You know, it's I'd love to see DJ come through and win. He's been there. I mean, he's been right there with a chance to win and just hasn't got it done. You know, he's a well-liked guy. I tell you what, I got to give him credit. The one PGA Championship when he had it, I mean, it looked like he had his eyes on the prize, looked like he was ready to go for it, and then got penalized 2 strokes for grounding his club in a bunker that people would walk in. I mean, it just blew my mind. And he handled it with total class. I couldn't believe, he couldn't, he keep his temper like that. But that's impressive. Some guys can do it, I don't know if I could. I'd probably be a little upset. We also have, I was trying to think of what else was going on. Oh, NBA Finals. NBA Finals going on. Game 7 coming up. I watched most of last night's, I'd say second half, and I was off and on. I was on doing Joe's show and kind of watching out of the corner of my eye, and then I watched the rest of it. But I was frustrated watching that Game 7. I don't know if anybody else watched it. But the thing that bothered me was, Stephen Curry gets ejected from his first game. He lost his temper, threw his mouthpiece, hit a fan, hit him right in the gut, this fan. And he went over and he slapped the fan, like kind of, hey, man, sorry, didn't mean to hit you with that. And a couple of the other fans, and they were Cleveland fans. So, I mean, he actually went over and, apologized to him. But the thing is I just, it was so, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. Something seemed wrong about that game. It was like the NBA was trying to do is push it to a Game 7. I know that Cleveland came out hot and they were, the drama of all of it. And, LeBron was on and all that. But, I mean, there were guys mowing guys over. I mean, they just bowl guys over. Or they just shove them completely out of the way. And then they had no calls. I mean, it just the call that Stephen Curry got called for fouling LeBron or whatever, where he hit all ball and then goes under him and LeBron lands on him, and then they blame Curry for a foul. And I was like going, what's going on here? It was. I'm sure that was just enough. He'd finally had enough of it. Well, I mean, they got it to where it's a Game 7. And I talked to, he's a former official. And I said to him, I go, something just doesn't seem right. And he goes, what, you think the games are fixed? And I said, well, I don't know about fixed. But it just seemed like they were trying to do is push it. How much do you think the NBA, stands to make with TV rights and everything like that, and ticket sales, and you name it, everything. And they take it to a Game 7. Who is it? LeBron. You got the MVP, Stephen Curry. They won 73 wins for a season. They're playing their last game of the year after a historical season. You got LeBron, his comeback to Cleveland. He's the King James, as they call him. I mean, how hyped up can they make this anymore? Did you hear the reporters, even the guys doing the TV afterwards, talking about how it was so great that they had the opportunity, where they're interviewing LeBron, to watch LeBron live. And I was just like, what the crap is that? I was just sick, and LeBron was so smug. He was just like so ultra extra trying to be cool that I was just like, oh, this is just too much. I think this is so over the top. Whether it's fixed or not, it just didn't look, just the way everything just ended up out of it. It just, how does one team blow out a team 2 games, then all of a sudden, they get blown out 2 games. Well, then they won the 3rd game, and then they get blown out again. It's like total kind of, and it wasn't a blowout last night. I mean, it was closer than the score. The score was closer than actually the game was. Towards the end of it, they went, a minute or so, they were able to make a couple threes to get it back to within 13 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was never any doubt that Cleveland was going to win that game last night. But it was just, it just looked kind of funny. And then to suspend, what's his name for, I can't think, suspended him for a game, could have possibly cost them the championship. So, I don't know. It just, are you going to tune in for Game 7? I will. A lot of people don't like the NBA. I've talked to a lot of people that don't watch it. They'll watch college basketball and stuff like that, and because they play under a totally different set of rules. I always talk to my dad, oh, well, it's their rules, it's their game, whatever. And I said, well, then why make them even dribble the ball, If they can go 2.5 steps without traveling, what's the point of the game? When do the rules change? Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. And the amount of contact. I used to laugh at Shaq. He would back, guy's 400 pounds. And he's backing into a guy that weighs about 250. And Shaq's knocking the guy backwards with his ass. And the guy's got his arm out. And the minute the guy puts 2 hands on Shaq, because Shaq's too big for him, blow the whistle. And I'm like, the guy's doing it just so he does, trying to keep his position. But yeah, the NBA's got some weird rules. Last night, the guy was hand checking LeBron, and LeBron does this fake I'm out of balance and pushes him over the line and gets a foul call on him. I was just like, LeBron is one of the biggest crybabies there is in the league, and you got Dellavedova, who's the biggest flop artist, probably one of the dirtiest players they got on that team. If nobody's ever come back to win after being down, 3-1 or whatever it was. So it'll be interesting if they, it's kind of like one of those scripted WWE matches, those are real. Ask Mike Allen. Mike loves the WWE wrestling. Probably tell you all the names of all the wrestlers. But you think about that. Is it scripted there? They'd say, what is it, 2049 or 20 something like that, we'll be living like in the Matrix. Who says we're not now? Follow the white rabbit, or take the blue pill, the red pill, whatever it is. Yeah, it's, are we going to, are we able to do is ever make our society a utopic society? No way. No. Too many people hate each other for what they think other people shouldn't be or should be. Look at all the information that's coming out about this this guy in Orlando. They're coming out with, I guess the gun shop that sold him the guns alerted the FBI. It says, this is a story that came out, and this was let's see here. This is off of USA Today. And it says, Florida shop alerted FBI to body armor inquiry. Apparently, said last month the Florida gun shop alerted FBI agents to a suspicious inquiry about type of body armor requested by a prospective customer who the shop owners now believe may have been Orlando shooter Omar Mateen. The FBI confirmed that the contact Friday, but said that no meaningful investigation follow-up was conducted because Lotus Gunworks in Jensen Beach, Florida, did not collect information that would identify the person. Well, I wonder if they have a camera system. I'm sure they do. Probably could go back and see that. It says, during this visit, Lotus personnel advised that there had been an individual who had been in the store earlier asking about specific types of body armor, the FBI stated. Because the store did not carry that particular style of body armor, it referred this unknown individual elsewhere, but was unable to collect any information about him, to include name, date of birth, charge card, telephone number, or email address. Following Sunday's shooting at Pulse, Lotus notified the FBI that the person who visited the store in previous months resembled a nightclub gunman. So, there's a lot of flags that are going up around this, this Omar Mateen. People are saying that, and it's not just from, just that shop or whatever. It says he had a life of violent threats. It says article that came out, and this is off the Wall Street Journal. Let me see. It says there's an article out through there that he had a life of, is it often citing Islamic terrorist Omar Mateen worried peers, employers, and the FBI, but wasn't stopped, of course. They let me see if I can find the other article. There's another article that talks about. It says it's apparently this is that Omar Mateen had signed over his home to his brother-in-law just before the attacks. It says several weeks before he shot the people at Orlando, the Pulse nightclub. It says Mateen transferred over his interest in his Florida home to his older sister and Afghan brother-in-law. Property records show an indication that the family possibly had some knowledge of his plans. Authorities say the fatally shot Mateen clearly prepared to die in the gun battle with police during the June 12th attack. It says on April 5th, Mateen quitclaimed the deed on his Port St. Lucie, Florida home, signing it over to his sister and his brother-in-law, Mustafa Abasin. This is according to county property records. The records list his wife as a witness in a curious real estate transaction. Mateen's wife, who is expected to be charged with accessory in her husband's attack, reportedly has told authorities Mateen began casing targets as early as April. He was regularly training with firearms well before April. So you think about this. His wife knew all about this. His family knew all about this. 2 months before the attack, or I'm sorry. Well, it would have been in the middle of April, so you got at least. It was April. What did they say? April 5th. So 2 months before the attack, he signs over his house. Now, let's say your family, your brother, or your sister, or whatever it is, if you got a relative, and you go to them and say, "Hey, I'm gonna sign over my house to you." Why? Well, I just gonna do it. Why wouldn't why wouldn't the wife? Normally if you make a beneficiary, it's usually your spouse. So they had plans ahead of time. They knew. Apparently the brother or the sister and the brother-in-law knew of what was going on. Something was happening. They knew about his trips to Saudi Arabia. And then our administration calls it homegrown terror. Well, I'm sorry, but this is not homegrown terror. This is not, white right-wing Christian ideology. This is not somebody with, gun, Second Amendment, gun control, blah, 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 against gays, what they think that they are. They think that the right wings are all against them. Mentality. This is them following the teachings of the Quran. This is this kid. He grew up. He was taught by his father. His father immigrated to the United States. You are a product of your teachings. Your parents teach you. He grew up with that mentality. He grew up on 9/11 and cheering the attacks of the planes flying into the towers. You look at his that's the mentality he's brought up. I was brought up in a Catholic household. I believe in God. I believe in the Catholic Church. If I would have grew up in a Buddhist household or a Jewish household. I would have thought of that type of faith. I would have been taught. You're a product of your teachings. You're a product of your parents. If your parents were atheists and they taught you that way, they're going to teach you that's the way, you should be. Well, apparently his dad taught him that Sharia law was the way of life. They say 51% of U.S., not just Muslims in general, U.S. Muslims believe in Sharia law. So more than half believe in Sharia law. They had, I'm trying to think of his name. He's, let's see if I got the article right here. It was, where we go? No, that's not the one. There we go. It says, this is an article that came off of InfoWars. It says, this is in light of the shooting. Islamic speaker Fahad Qureshi, who admitted that the desire to see homosexuals killed was a belief held by so-called moderate Muslims. This was during a conference held in May of 2013. Qureshi explained that the media often frames views such as the death penalty for homosexuals or the subjugation of women as only being held by radical Muslims. He says, I always try to tell them that these are general views that every Muslim actually has. And he says every Muslim believes in these things, said Qureshi. Qureshi then asked the audience of Muslim attendees, black, white, and Arab, to raise their hand if they believe with gender segregation and stoning women for adultery as taught by the Quran. Virtually every single moderate Muslim in the room raises their hand to agree with these positions. Qureshi then asked the audience if they go to normal Sunni mosques in Norway. Virtually everyone raised their hand again. He said, what are the politicians going to say now? What is the media going to say now? That we're all extremists? That we're all radicals? That we need to deport us from this country, says Qureshi. It says a chilling, ironic thing is, of course, that trying to argue that most Muslims are not radical extremists, Qureshi proves that the point of the so-called moderate Muslims do, in fact, hold radical, violent, and extremist views about treatment of women and homosexuals. So, you look at some of the, countries over there where they have death sentence for gay people. It says, if such views were espoused by extreme right-wingers, liberals would be up in arms. But because Muslims rank higher in the oppression Olympics, they call it, table so-called progressives, are frightened to criticize Islam for fear of being labeled politically incorrect or racist. Despite the fact that Islam is not a race. It has also been confirmed just before the weeks that Muslim cleric Sharik Farrak Sakeshlafar called for gays to be executed during a sermon at an Orlando area mosque. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing Sekalashvar Also called for homosexuals to be killed out of compassion. Said death is the sentence. There's nothing to be embarrassed about this. Death is a sentence, he said during a 2013 sermon at the University of Michigan. It says, with many gay people in America now asserting that they will switch their vote to Trump in light of Saturday Night Massacre, it is imperative for LGBT community to understand that the regressive left has chosen Islam over gay rights. It says lefties would rather justify the act as apologists for a religion that openly encourages the slaughter of homosexuals than stand up and defend the lives of the gay people. I will stand up and defend the lives of all people. When they start coming up with a radical view, I mean, to sit there and tell me that, oh, it does not reflect the Muslim religion. Well, actually, it does. I'm not saying that all the Muslims are going to go out and start killing people. They said that in the Bible, it talks about how the Bible talked about striking down homosexuals or stuff like that. But I don't believe in that. I don't believe in striking. Because what is the one thing that says in the Ten Commandments? Thou shalt not kill. And if you can't get past the Ten Commandments, it's like the RoboCop, the 3 laws, you know. You know, what's the first one? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not, you know, I mean, you go down the list of the 10 Commandments. Well, the first ones are, you know, thou shalt not kill. So if you get past that and you feel that your religion tells you that you should kill people because their sexual orientation, well, I'm sorry, I don't care what they want to do. If they want, I don't care if people want to get married. I don't care if gay people want to live together. That's fine. It's their choice. Do I tolerate their opinion? Yes. Do I have the same opinion as them? No. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a difference of opinion. They don't have anything against me being heterosexual. I don't have anything against them being homosexual. That's their choice. I mean, if they that's what they feel is right to them. But to sit there and say death to them because of it, and moderate Muslims hold that same view, and then Sharia law, in Canada, they're talking about how Muslims are saying, we don't care about your laws. We're not going to assimilate to your laws. You will assimilate to ours. What is the future of the United States if we fall down the same path as Europe right now that they're going on in Germany? Do we have to look forward to the attack on more innocent gay people? Or the attack on men and women that are out at clubs just because of the way they dress? Or people out at sporting events or malls or anything like that? Is that what we're going to have to look forward to down the road? Where we're like Europe, where bombings occur? You think that if we ban a gun that looks evil, that's going to stop the people from being evil? No, it's not going to. You can look at all through time. Look at how many people died on 9/11. How many of those were killed with a gun? 0. You look at the people that died at the Oklahoma City bombing in 1993. How many of that was done with a gun? 0. That was homegrown extremism, as you want to call it, where he blew up the government building in Oklahoma City, where he built a big bomb in a truck. Timothy McVeigh. You know, you look at another homegrown extremism. David Koresh. What did they do there? They went in and stormed his house and killed him. You know, you look at whether he was right or wrong. I thought there would have been a better way to handle it. I mean, it was just like all of a sudden the building caught fire. It's like, wow. You know, you look at what is our future for when we have, if we take in so many immigrants from, you know, Syria and all the different countries over there, that majority of them, well, from coming from that country, not just U.S.-based Muslims that are already here, but Muslims that are coming from these affected areas. What is their belief in Sharia going to be? Are they going to come here and go, "Oh, I'm glad I'm away from that Sharia law. Oh, let's do is we need to go by the democracy." Or no, we don't know. The women, take that burqa off. You don't need to wear all that. Or what are they going to be? You know, what's it going to be 20 years from now? Has this administration set us so far down the road that we can't bring it back? That we can't live together? That they have the mentality that gay people should be exterminated? If you put that, who does that sound like? And what amazes me is that there's an organization called, I was talking to him today, a gentleman that works for me, and he was talking about an organization called Pink Pistols. And it said ever since and it's a gun rights group by homosexuals. It's run by homosexuals. And their affiliation doubled overnight. You know, I got on people talking about how on Facebook, and I hate chiming into big, long arguments where people get back. I mean, because people get so offended by anything you say, and they take it words out of context and stuff. Because type words are meant differently than, you know, how you express something. You know, it's hard to stress how you say the words, because the English language is crazy to when, you know, you think about it, when, you know, some of the things that, you know, you could say that might not have the same meaning but as the way you type it. So they were arguing back and forth about how that people are just so insensitive and they're just darn right assholes. And I hate using that word because I don't like to use profanity on my show, but they were calling them, all right, I won't use that. They call them a-holes because they were posting memes or whatever that were that insinuated that, you know, taking away or banning an AR-15 or whatever, which it wasn't even the weapon that was used, is going to somehow stop people from, bad people from being bad or evil. It got to be where it was rather heated, and it had come through my Facebook feed, and what's wild is I get to where I follow less and less people because I get so tired of is if you don't believe exactly the way they do, then you're, either some type of a nut or whatever. But the average person, they have no idea what evil is, and they've never seen it. They're naive to it. Yeah, they hear about it on TV, and they see it on NCIS or whatever, and they see these stories, and they're told by the left media and the left politicians that if we ban this, it's going to stop violence everywhere. I laughed at one of them. It says, yeah, nobody should own a gun or a gun that, shoots, thousands of bullets in seconds or whatever like that. Except, a fully automatic gun should not be owned by, fully automatics have been outlawed for quite a few years. It wouldn't have been any different if he'd walked in there with a 12 gauge and just kept firing a 12 gauge and, if he'd have done double out buck, he could have injured a lot of people too. I mean, what would have been the difference if he'd have walked in there with a bomb and detonated the bomb? And if he killed 50, 60 people? Taking, I'm saying, taking away an AR-15 or AR-15 rifle from your average, Joe Blow or whatever that would go buy one. Do they think that's really going to stop? Even if you were able to get rid of every gun, you're not going to stop it. Look at this administration that we have right now, what they did with, Fast and Furious. They never kept track of any weapons, and they gave them to cartel people down in Mexico. That's been widely reported. That was, what's his name? The former Attorney General, Eric Holder. I mean, they want to do is be able to do is register and document all gun owners. It will not change the situation. You look at this mosque that this Omar Mateen visited, where he wasn't very religious. He wasn't. He barely even went to his synagogue to pray, or whatever, his mosque, or what do you want to call it. And then all of a sudden, now he's taking trips to Saudi Arabia to go to Mecca, blah blah blah. He was there twice a week, and now I find out that he was hugely devout into his faith, and I mean they want to deflect everything off. No, wasn't had nothing to do with jihad. Nope. So what do you want to do? We want to ban those jihad words. So what we want to do is get rid of radical Islam. No, we can't even use that word. No, that's a bad word. Let's get rid of. Let me see. What would be another politically correct word? It's just like Sharia law. Let's get rid of that, or jihad, or anything. And this is Homeland Security. So, let's get rid of all words and turn it into a total different story than what actually happened. So this came out by Bill Gertz, with the Free Beacon. It's the new Department of Homeland Security report urges rejecting use of Islamic terms such as jihad and Sharia in programs aimed at countering terrorist radicalization among American youth. So what are they going to call it? You can't stick your hand over your eyes and say, "Oh, it's not happening." For the longest time, most major cities said, "Oh, no, we don't have a gang. We don't have a gang problem." And a lot of them will not admit it to this day that they don't have a gang problem. You know why they don't want to admit they have a gang problem? Because the minute they admit they have a gang problem or something like that, then they're going to lose tourism because of it. They're going to lose, different things because of it. People don't want to go to some place that's got a gang problem. So now, why does the administration not want to admit that we have a problem with radical Islam in the United States and across the world? Because it doesn't fall under the his narrative that he wanted to say ISIS is the JV team and it's on the fall and blah blah blah. He wanted it to, because he wants it to do is make everybody believe that his policies are so great that it's turned ISIS into nothing. So it's like sitting there saying, yeah, that infection you got on your arm, that's nothing. Oh, no. Oh, it grew up. Oh, it's kind of a gangrene. Oh, no. Just wrap this thing around your arm. Never going to happen. Nothing. Oh, you're fine. And it gets worse and worse and worse. Next thing you know, your arm falls off. And then you're like, well, it's the fault of the other arm is why. They're blaming Republicans and Donald Trump for the attacks in Orlando. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has to do with his belief in Islam, the way he was brought up by his dad. His dad raised him, and his dad even spoke out against gay people. His dad raised him that way. His dad raised him to hate pork, and he went off at people at barbecue, giving them crap about having all this pork around when he was younger. He used to beat his first wife, and in the Sharia law, that's not a violation. Women are second-class citizens to the men under Sharia law. Oh, let's put a freaking blanket over your ass and say, here, walk around with 2 holes slit in it, and you look like, Casper or whatever. I'm like, give me, what's wrong with this? You got nurses that are working in hospitals over in Islamic countries where they don't want to wash their hands because they don't want to show off their wrists. Well, I'm sorry, but I've seen a lot of women, and I've seen my fair share of pornographic pictures, and the wrists were not the first thing I was looking at. If I would sit there and happen to look over and see a woman dressed with the the burqa on, and all of a sudden I saw her wrist, it wouldn't be like, hey, ooh, look at that. No, I'm sorry. So, you look at where we're headed. What's the direction? You look at 15, 20 years from now. If we don't fight for our Second Amendment now, we won't have it. It'll be gone. We have one of the highest per capita gun ownerships in the world, and we aren't even in the top 100 in gun violence. They want to make it like we are, like it's the Wild West and we're having shootouts on every street corner. Most of the gun violence occurs in gun-free zones. What did they even say? They said he even cased these nightclubs multiple times, and his wife knew about it. So it's not like he went in there and went, okay, whoop. Yeah, they got guns. Well, then I go here. He cased Disney. He cased multiple nightclubs, gay nightclubs. He had 5 different, accounts on Facebook, they said. I have one. And I have my Straight Talk page. That's it. I don't know. Maybe he was using them. Maybe they'll find out he'll maybe he was receiving orders. You never know. But you're talking about them getting rid of words to try to stop. Just because you don't use the words doesn't counter the violence. This is the department's CVE efforts are an attempt to protect our nation's young people from extremists who prey upon the millennial generation. What extremists are preying on them? Well, the ones that are trying to lure them into be jihadists for Islam. What are they trying to get them to refrain from becoming Republicans? Because they don't like, I guess that maybe they consider that extremists. It's the department must reframe the conversation to reflect this reality and design a robust program around the protection of our youth, which must include predator awareness and understanding of radicalization. In doing so, our citizens will be better equipped for this threat. Said under the section on terminology, the report calls for rejecting use of an us versus them mentality by shunning Islamic language in counter-violence extremism programs, or CVE. The Obama administration euphemism that seeks to avoid reference to Islam. Every time he defends Islam, even when they come out and they say, they're Allah action free. What do you want to call it? I don't know it. When they're running across the Major Hassan in Houston, when he shot those people, or at Fort Hood. When you got the Boston bombers, and then you got this guy at the Pulse nightclub, and then you got the people at the recruiting center, and then the San Bernardino attacks. All of them talking about their allegiance to Islam. And immediately, our president says, well, that had nothing to do with Islam. How the hell you know? They're dead. Apparently, it had everything to do with Islam. But if we deny it enough times, then it's true. You know? Kind of like Hillary's emails. I did not send anything classified. Marked classified. Mark who? Yeah. But to sit there and deny that it's happening will solve it? No. Not any more than saying, let's ban all weapons. That'll make them stop. It's like, I love I don't know, I want to find out and see if this is true, because if she said this, it's like kind of like Nancy Pelosi smart. There's a meme out where Dianne Feinstein makes a statement. If we get rid of our guns, they'll see that we're unarmed and they'll put down theirs. Well, these 100 and some people that were shot at the Pulse nightclub were not armed. I have a problem with the officer, armed security, I don't care who he is, that got in the shootout with him and ran away. I got a feeling this is going to come into more information about this, or they're going to keep it quiet. But you'd hear this guy, the shooter, sign away his house. He said they gave the house for $10, and his wife witnessed the transfer. Well, that tells me that she knew what was coming down the pipe. She knew everything that was going on. So, is this going to happen again? Unfortunately, yes. Senator Rand Paul asked why FBI investigation into the Mateen mosque or the investigation into Omar Mateen was closed. It said Senator Rand Paul questioning why the FBI closed an investigation in radical Islamic Orlando terrorist Omar Mateen despite strong evidence that he was a threat to the United States of America. During remarks to an intern lecture series in the U.S. Senate Russell's office building that were closed to all but invited press, including Breitbart News, argued that Mateen was not on the terrorism watch list once the investigation concluded. Paul's remarks came in response to the Democratic-led filibuster from Senator Chris Murphy, Democratic from Connecticut, in the U.S. Senate on Wednesday, where Murphy led a group of Democrats and some Republicans, including Senator Pat Toomey, Republican from Pennsylvania, to push for more gun control. They want to push for gun control. It says, okay, let's say you're on a FBI watch list. If you go to buy a gun, then you should be able to do is provide evidence. They should be able to do is, if you go to buy a gun, they should have to bring evidence to you to reason why. And say, this is why you're not being allowed to purchase this weapon, and you should be able to fight that in court to prove that you're not a danger as to what they say they are. And then you should be able to purchase the gun if you clear that. The no-fly list, I think you should, if you're on an actual no-fly list, you should be notified. Because if I'm on a no-fly list and I go to the airport and I spend all this money on a ticket and they tell me, no, I'm sorry, you're on a no-fly list, I should know that beforehand. at least any U.S. citizen that's on a no-fly list. People think that, banning the assault rifle, or what they call assault rifles, which are not assault rifles, but banning any weapon that shoots, they think, that sprays hate and does, whatever they come up with some idea that it's going to be worse. I'm sorry, you can take away all the assault style rifles you want to call them, or whatever, the AR-15, the Sig Sauer, any of the different weapons that look like something that would be out of a military style. You can get rid of all of them. They're going to use something else. They're going to make a bomb. They're going to do one other way. They're going to take a semi, drive it through a building. They don't care. They have no intentions of following any law that you pass. You can make the most strict laws, and they'll ignore those. People don't get it in their head. Because they made it a law doesn't mean these people are going to follow it. They didn't follow it from the get-go. Isn't shooting people against the law? He had no intentions of following the law. I feel sorry for the families that died. I'm extremely sorry. I'm compassionate for the families and the people that died. It's a sad, sad day for our country, but to sit there and say, okay, we need to take away your rights and everybody's right, because somebody that doesn't care what your rights are, it doesn't matter. You could say, okay, we're banning assault weapons. We're going to reinstate the assault weapons ban. And the next guy that goes to do this, he's not going to give a rat's ass what you said. As they said, they will not assimilate to our laws. We will have to assimilate to their laws. So their mentality is, well, let's do is light the building on fire, or let's blow the building up, or let's do, they're going to find a different way of doing it. They think that making themselves feel better because you've taken an evil-looking weapon off the street to people that can legally purchase it. They had this reporter that wrote an article about, I fired this AR-15 and I had temporary PTSD after it. I'm like, you are so full of crap. It bruised my shoulder, and the bullets flying by caused me to be disoriented and anxious, and I'm like, you are full of crap. I bet he never even fired the thing. I mean, there is no way that an AR-15 bruises somebody's shoulder. I guarantee I could take my 10-year-old and fire an AR-15, and it wouldn't bruise his shoulder. This guy made this whole story up. They will spin everything to make it like it's an attack. Because they want to do is they don't care how they get their agenda passed, as long as it passes. They don't care what happens to you or I or anyone. Hillary has no care in the world, whether you or this administration has no care whether you want to follow along with what they believe, as long as they got enough votes to do it, they care less. They want to do is get rid of the assault-style weapon. They want to do is put a ban on that, because then that's one step closer to banning all guns. If they get to where they start banning these, next thing you know, they'll go, oh, well, we need to get rid of this. This gun holds too many rounds, and it fires too fast. Get rid of that. Oh, wait a minute, this gun too. Oh, then the handguns, get rid of those. Because they won't stop. Liberals will never stop. They'll hug the tree. They'll chain themselves to it. They'll block streets. They think that will save, is better for humanity as a whole. And then when their friends get killed because some idiot goes in and doesn't give a rat's ass about the law, that'll be more reason to start more gun control. I mean, it's just amazing. You list out exactly what this guy was. He was a Muslim, believed in Sharia law. There was a radical jihadist. His dad was raised in Afghanistan or whatever. Ran for president of Afghanistan and immigrated here. Taught his kid how to become, the Sharia law, spoke out against gays, and his son went and did what he did. And then we go, oh, that's Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump did that. It was all his because his homophobic and Islamic statements caused this guy to go off. No, it's his dad. His dad trained him to be that way. His dad brought him up with the mentality that he should follow Sharia law and kill gay people. This guy was radicalized from birth because his dad was brought up that way. You bring, it's like taking a guy. All right, let's say we take it more in more rational terms, or people where they can understand it. It's like Joe was talking about back in the olden days when Italian neighborhoods, when the Italian mafia ran the neighborhoods. You didn't mess around in the neighborhoods. They ran it by Italian law almost. It's kind of the same way, although it's a little bit different. But I mean, they had the controlling where they ran everything in the neighborhoods. Well, it's kind of the same thing, but it's not based on religion. So, you look at where are we going to be 20 years from now? Is it going to be the United States still? Everybody, oh, no, it won't change. Well, look at how many countries and how many great societies have fallen. What caused them to fail? You look at where this country is headed, and if we don't get our stuff straightened out and we keep bringing in people that have the Sharia radical Islamic ideas, sooner or later they're going to be in charge, because they're going to slowly weed out the people that aren't. They will do it by They'll immigrate, have kids, populate areas, push people out, and take over areas. And it'll keep expanding. Till pretty soon there is no. And then we're like where they are in their current country now, where they're driving Christians and homosexuals and everybody out of areas, and if they find them, they kill them. Well, if you live in a predominantly Sharia neighborhood and they kill some gay guy or whatever, how do you know? If nobody makes a complaint, how do you know? So, yeah, I'm just, where are we going to be 20 years from now? So, what we're going to do is take a quick break, and we'll be back here shortly. Let's see, what do we want to listen to on the way out? Maybe. Trying to get it to go there. There we go.
Tune in every Monday and Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time for Straight Talk with Matt Hasley. Live audio on TuneIn Radio and Spreaker.com. Plus live video on Ustream.tv. From the demented minds at ArmedRadioGlobal.com.
Hey, Dan. How's the day going so far?
My day couldn't be better. You pull up less than 3 minutes after I open my Lyft app, and how do you greet me? With a kind hello? Just delightful.
Great. Care for a cookie?
A cookie? A chocolate chip cookie? You know, I'd love one.
Sure.
Hey, let me ask you something. How did you know I love this song?
I mean, come on, it's the Cold War kids. Everybody loves them.
Whoa! Who taught this guy how to merge? That was a fantastic merge!
Couldn't agree more.
That's it? That's all this costs? What's this thing running on? Smiles and high fives? You son of Mike, I love you!
Thanks. Have a great day.
Lyft. Driving you happy. Just download and go.
Hey, Joe Rocks, it's Louis Avis, straight from Chi-Town. Call and talk about our website, www.hotsaucevault.com. We got everything you can think of out there, Joe. The hottest hot sauce is not for wimps, mild, medium sauces. We got barbecue sauces, snacks, some of our gift ideas and gag gifts, so you can go out and check us out at www.hotsaucevault.com. Hope to talk to you again on your radio show. Kick-ass show. Had a great time last week. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care, Joe. hotsaucevault.com.
If you're looking to reward, celebrate, recognize, or advertise, get help from the pros at Creative Marketing. Custom imprinted products to give that event a lasting impression. Log on to Creative Marketing on Facebook and click the Call Us button. With over 700,000 products, we're sure to find what is right for you. Remember, think Creative Marketing for all your adware needs.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
E24. In my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Hey everybody, Mike Allen here. You can hear me live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on TuneIn Radio. Or you can visit my website at www.ontheairwithmikeallen.com for more showtimes, updates, and replays. So remember, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on the air with Mike Allen, right here on Armed Radio Global.
Hey everybody, this is Paul and Jim. Join us on Pod Talk Radio, Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after Night Talk with Joe Rocks,
where we will be discussing subjects one doesn't say in polite society. We're rude and crude and unwavering in our opinions.
So please tune in to Armed Radio Global, home of the big guns.
Boom!
It was like a shadow in the night. My hair was standing on end. I was frozen in fear. I couldn't believe it. They really are here. Make sure you join the Alien Invasion Response Team. Tune in for the message every Monday and Friday for Straight Talk with Matt Hasley, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, only on Arm Radio Global. Be ready. They're coming.
Hey there, sexy. This is comedian Jenny Lavoie. You can catch me with the rest of the gang every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Night Talk with Joe Rocks, exclusively on Armed Radio Global. Mwah!
And we're back. Speaking of what we were talking about earlier about how the Muslims were attacking, the gay community in Orlando, Muslim Youth League calls for massacre at gay rights parade. And this came out on June 17th today. It said the Anatolia Muslim Youth Organization called for an intervention this week against the upcoming gay rights parade in Istanbul. The youth group said either the authorities call off the parade or they will perform their duties against the gays, it says. It says the Muslim youth group members were also upset. The parade was scheduled during the holy month of Ramadan. See what I mean? Is no tolerance. So it being during Ramadan that they will strike because it's their religious holiday. But it says at this time the world is mourning the attacks in Orlando. One day after the group called, the Anatolia Muslim Youth Group Organization, MAG, called for intervention against immoral LGBT Pride March to be held on June 26 in Istanbul's Taksim. The Alperen Hearts, an ultra-nationalist youth organization linked to Nationalist Great Union Party, BBP, threatened on June 14 to take all risks necessary to stop the march, vowing to not only allow immoral people to perform their fantasies. The organization's Istanbul's provincial head, Kursat Maykan, told journalists that the Alperen Hearst vowed to give a very clear and harsh response if the state did not interfere. So they can do whatever they want by gathering somewhere. We definitely don't want them to walk naked on the sacred soil of our country in the blessed month of Ramadan, Mikan said, playing sure to work the Ramadan card. That's it. And then it says, but Obama and the Democrats believe it's a gun control problem. It's a beliefs problem. So, rock jock, or shock jock, I guess you would call him, Howard Stern, he weighed in on gun control. And this was his statement. He says, I'm so upset about Orlando and what went down, Stern said on his show Wednesday. But I can't believe these people would come out afterward and their answer to Orlando is to take away guns from the public. He says it's effing mind-blowing to me. Stern went on to make an apology comparing the public to sheep, the terrorists to wolves, and the military and police to sheepdogs. He said, now let's say I walked up literally to a sheep herd, and they know every night the wolves pick off a couple of them, Stern said. What if I went up to the sheep and said, you want to have a shot at the wolves? I'm going to give you a pistol. You can actually even the playing field with these wolves, whose fangs are out. You could shoot them and save your family. Stern said he's anti-violence and admits that he could only hurt a fly if confronted, and labels himself as a sheep. But he said there are such horrible monsters in this world. The wolves are always plotting. They'll use box cutters. They'll use an airplane. They'll fly into a building. They don't need AR-15s. Exactly. It said the outspoken Sirius XM personality said he's not for taking away people's rights, adding he thinks the answer doesn't lie in taking away any kind of ability of the sheep to protect themselves from the wolves. I wish it was that simple. He's exactly right. They will not stop because you took away. All you did will do is they'll find something else. They'll find another way to enact violence on people, to kill people. It does not matter. Until people wake up and understand that it has nothing to do with that being the AR-15. You know, until people wake up and find that out, you know, they're going to be the sheep. You know, I have my sister is exactly into that. I have 4 sisters, and they won't talk around me because they're like, oh no, he's gonna talk about how he should be able to carry guns. I'm a former police officer. I've seen it. She's lived in that liberal utopic society where nothing ever happens bad to her. You know, it's they've never been around it. They've never had to be around that type of violence or see that type of violence. She told me, she's a teacher at a school. She told me the day they start carrying guns in school, the day I retire. Why is it not okay to protect the kids? A security door cannot solve all your problems. Oh, we got locks on the doors. Well, they got freaking windows you can shatter out with your foot. You know, it's like, how long does a normal police response take? You know, down in Texas, I thought it was so smart because they had police officers assigned to every school. They had a police, they had a police, the one where I lived in San Antonio, they had North Side Independent School District Police. So they had police departments for each school district. I had a friend of mine who was a school district police officer. You know, they have full police powers. They worked all the school functions. So, yeah, it's a lot of people think that you know, oh, you can't have guns in school. Well, why is it okay to have a gun at your bank to protect your bank, your money, and a gun at the airport, but it's not okay to have a gun to protect your children at school? You know, it's amazing how off base we are. Here's a story that came out. Teen hacks Pentagon websites, gets thanked for finding the bugs. It says high school student David Dworkin spent 10 to 15 hours between classes on his laptop hacking U.S. Defense Department websites. Instead of getting in trouble, the 18-year-old who graduated this week with one or two people this week was one of two people praised by Secretary of Defense Ash Carter at the Pentagon on Friday for finding vulnerabilities before U.S. adversaries did. It says, we know that the State Department sponsored actors and black hat hackers want to challenge and exploit our networks. What we didn't fully appreciate before this pilot was how many white hat hackers are who want to make a difference. Carter said at a ceremony where he thanked Craig Ernst, a security consultant at Stratum Security. More than 1,400 participants took part in a pilot project launched this year and found 138 valid reports and vulnerabilities. Pentagon said the project invited hackers to test cybersecurity in some public defense department websites. The pilot project was limited to public websites, and the hacker did not have access to highly sensitive areas. It said the U.S. government has pointed the finger at China and Russia, saying that they have tried to access government systems in the past. The Pentagon said it paid a total of $75,000 to the successful hackers in amounts ranging from $100 to $15,000. Said Dworkin, who graduated on Monday from Merritt High School in Washington, D.C., said he reported 6 vulnerabilities but received no award because they had already been reported. Said Dworkin said he had already been approached by a recruiter about potential internships. Yeah. They want to know this kid because the kid knows what's going on. It said, Hack the Pentagon is modeled after similar competitions known as bug bounties conducted by U.S. companies to discover network security gaps. Pentagon said the pilot project cost $150,000, including the reward money, and several follow-up initiatives were planned. They included creating a process so others could report vulnerabilities without fear of prosecution. Hey, I think it's a great idea as long as they can keep, that they're able to fix the problems, and these people don't get, if they come out and they say, hey, this is what happened, and they don't get prosecuted for it. So, talking about also in the news, let me see if I can, let's see here. You're talking about, where is it here? I'm trying to find the article here. Oh, here. Talking about the alligator attack at Disney. There was a San Diego father who came out, and he said he's speaking out about the recent alligator attack in Florida that left a 2-year-old dead, saying his son suffered a nearly similar fate at Disney World last year. So the Orange County Sheriff's Department said research recovered the body of the 2-year-old Lane Graves, who was snatched by the alligator at Walt Disney World. I'm happy to see they were able to recover this son. The boy was attacked Tuesday night as he waded in water at the edge of the Seven Seas Lagoon at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. The San Diego attorney, David Hayden, says his little boy was approached by an alligator at Coronado Springs Resort while he and his family were vacationing at the nearby Walt Disney World Resort property in Orlando area. He was playing and looking for bugs and stuff. Then all of a sudden, I look past his head and I see an alligator maybe 6 or 7 feet beelining straight for him. Hayden says that the gator which he later snapped a photo of, was about 10 or 15 yards away from his child when Haydn quickly snatched him to safety. And at this point, I looked to the left, and there was another alligator about the same size, but closer, said Haydn. Haydn said his son's uncomfortable, close encounters with two alligators could have been far worse outcome. Had I been texting or taking photographs or not paying attention, the one on the left would have probably have gotten my son, said Haydn. An unsettling as that experience was, Haydn was also shocked with his resort management reaction when Haydn informed them of the son's potentially fatal experience. The manager could have cared less. I remember her words. These are resident pets. They've known about them for years. They're not dangerous. They're not going to harm anybody, said Haydn. I was very upset, very angry, very shocked, and I said, I hope to God I never read about a young kid killed by an alligator like the one almost did to my son. In the wake of this week's tragedy, a Disney spokesman said all of its resort beaches will remain off limits to guests at Disney reviews its protocols, including signs and warnings. I'm sorry, but I live in Iowa. I go to Disney with my kids. Or, if I go to Disney with my kids. And if I have a 2-year-old or 3-year-old or 4-year-old, I don't care how old they are, and it has signs, no swimming. Well, that means no wading in the pool water at all. And the reason why is because what's my mindset? I'm coming from Iowa or the Midwest where I have no alligators. I feel that there's going to be an alligator in every pond. And I'm going to treat it as such. I just find it hard to believe that people are naive enough to just sit there and not, watch after their kid. And then immediately people attack the people who say that they should have been watching them. It's like the guy who leaves his kid in the car, and the kid dies because the car gets too hot. And what do? They blame the people who complained about it. You see these right now. This is the time of the year what people will do is leave their kids in the car and they go, "Oh, I'm only leaving them in there for 5 minutes." 90 degrees outside turns the car into 100 and some degrees in minutes. Yeah, sitting out in that car in that heat. Many parents have the mindset that it's my kid. Don't tell me how to raise him. So, yeah, I just don't understand how you can sit there and let your kid wade in an area where one day there might not, they might go, "Oh, there's no alligators in this pond here." I'm sorry, I don't trust those people. It's a freaking swamp area. You look at it. It's a perfect inviting area for a gator to live. And as cute as that little boy was, to that gator, he is food. There's a reason why they're prehistoric looking and why they stay in the water and we're on land. So, yeah, I'm troubled by what the family. Will the family, sue? I'm sure they will. Will they win? I'm sure they will. Should they win a lot? I think a fair amount would be justified because Disney knew about the problem and they did nothing to prevent the problem. Will there be something happen like that again? I'm sure there probably will. I hate going to the wave pools because, it's so hard for a little kid when the crowd is in there that people just overlook other people and they push people around. And it's so easy for a kid to drown in seconds. We had a kid last year that was, they had this big slide. The kid went down, hit the I think it was a little girl, hit her head on the bottom of the pool when they come out of the slide, knocked her out, and she was underwater. Had to revive her. They did CPR, revived her. She was fine, but they still had to do CPR to get her to breathe again, get the water out of her lungs. But she lived. I mean, it's that quick. It's so fast it happens. You think that, it won't ever, nothing will ever happen. Well, you need to do is, it's just like anything. We had a jogger run a park that, a lady who works for me, she lives a block from the park. I know the park. I've been to the park. We used to play basketball at it as a kids. Lady was, walking or jogging, and guy pulls up next to her and asks for directions. She leans into the car, and he grabs her and tries to pull her into the car. He was unsuccessful. She was able to get away. She ran. Vehicle come out to be a tan or gold late model sedan with a gentleman in his 20s. Kind of heavy set with blonde, sandy blonde or brown hair or whatever. But I wish you would have been able to get the license plate. I mean, you don't realize how quickly that escalates, or that happens. We don't normally hear too much of that around this area. We've had last year. We had maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago. We had them try to abduct the kid. Two different kids at different times from a creeper van, one of those white van with no windows. You would look for it to say, free ice cream on the side or something like that, or free candy or whatever. Just something that just out of the norm. That happened, last year, a couple of years ago. You see that, and it really scares you to think people are that way. So, I got to say happy birthday to my niece out there. Happy birthday, Colleen. She went to the Cubs game today. Pretty cool. She went to the Cub game. I worked all day, but my daughter is actually out in Vegas. She got to take a trip to Vegas with her two aunts and two of her aunts. She has many more than that. But she went with them out to Vegas, and she sends me this little video of her winning like $15 or whatever, and I thought that was kind of cute. But hope she has a good time. Hope she doesn't lose too much, get lucky, and maybe win a bunch. That'd be nice. But right now I think the Powerball is like 300 and some million. I hate to tell you, but if we win that, I'm in a pool with one lady at work. We buy tickets and we'll split the money. So if we win that, needless to say, I will probably be a short radio show for the next one, but it will be I'll be on to different things. It'll be time to actually play some golf, which I haven't done. So But no, you look at this alligator attack down in Orlando, and it scares me to think that that could happen again. I come across alligators on the golf course, but I respected them and stayed well away. If I hit a ball over towards water areas like that, usually I would go and I'd pull up along close to it with the golf cart and to see if I could find it, because what happens if he comes out of there, at least I have the cart between him and I. But there's a lot of areas I did not want to mess with them. You got to expect it. But no, we have I love this one. There's you get memes that come out and it says blaming all Muslims for terrorists or all gun owners for murders is like blaming all musicians for Kanye West. I like that one. So let me see here. What else we want to chat about? We have big article I wanted to talk about. Oh yes. Let me see here. This is an article that came out, and it came out on Fox News. And I was just like listening to this, and everybody talking about how the Democratic Party is for the people. Well, apparently, meaning that the Democratic Party was for the LGBT community or for women and stuff like that. Well, how come this is money that was donated to Hillary Clinton, either the Clinton Foundation has accepted millions from countries that prosecute, imprison gay people, and worse. And this is an overview. It says Algeria, they took anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000. Said Algerian law states anyone guilty of a homosexual act is punishable with imprisonment. Brunei, they took for anywhere from $1 to $5 million. Brunei's penal code states whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, woman, or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for a term that may extend up to 10 years. Jamaica, $50,000 to $100,000 they took. Gay men caught having sex face up to 10 years in prison. Kuwait, $5 to $10 million she accepted from them. Kuwaiti law states consensual intercourse between men of full age from the age of 21 shall be punishable with the term of imprisonment up to 7 years. Oman, $1 to $5 million. Law states anyone who commits erotic acts where the person of the same sex shall be sentenced to imprisonment from 6 months to 3 years. Qatar, $1 to $5 million. Sentences for acts of homosexuality range from 1 to 7 years in prison. Saudi Arabia, $10 million to $25 million. Islamic law in Saudi Arabia enforces penalties for homosexual ranging from public flogging to death. For a non-Muslim who commits sodomy with a Muslim, the penalty is death by stoning. United Arab Emirates, $1 million to $5 million. Emirati law states all sexual acts outside of heterosexual marriage are banned in the United Arab Emirates. It said the Clinton Foundation probably should have to give the money back because they should take money. They shouldn't take money from these totalitarian countries that punish, torture, and execute gay people for being gay. And this said Matthew Vadum, vice president of the Capital Research Center, which analyzed donations to the Clinton Foundation. So it says Fox News contacted more than half a dozen prominent gay rights organizations, including Human Rights Campaign, GLAAD, and International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, the Los Angeles LGBT Center, and the Bill Gates, the Gill Foundation. None would comment on what critics consider Clinton hypocrisy, promising to protect gay rights while enriching her foundation by promoting ties with a repressive government that violates those rights. My problem is when they left the White House, we were so broke when we left the White House, we could barely take the furniture. Yeah, so when they left the White House and they've been in public service, it's all they've done. That's their whole life has been. And they're worth $200 million. Something's wrong with public service. So there's a reason why they want to stay in public service, because they make tons of money. And they give positions to their friends and people that donate to them. Well, this is a guy, his name is, this is a story that came out and it was on beforeitsnews.com. So you take this for what it's worth. Former guest of mine has written this story. He said that it says, I feel this is important, meaning him, not I, important piece of Orlando shooting puzzle, but this is must go viral and must be investigated now before more people are killed. This entire Orlando shooting thing stinks, he says. He says, I still don't have ironclad proof. Let me see here. Hold on, I had something come up on. He says, I don't have ironclad proof proving people got killed or not. But one thing is clear. The official story is completely bogus, he says. And the government is 100% involved. It's a false flag for sure with the evidence we now have. This is what he's talking about. It says, James Howell claims CIA did Orlando shooting and we're working with him to attack gays in Santa Monica with bombs. This was the guy that was stopped on his way. So it says the real truth of the story was released to a former Los Angeles County prosecutor who works for Get Off the BS by two Santa Monica police officers that have been issued a gag order under threat of federal prosecution for talking further about the incident. According to two department sources, Howell called the Santa Monica Police Department on Sunday morning, claims that he needed protection from the CIA. Howell further elaborated that the dispatcher stating that he had been set up by the CIA, they're going to kill me. According to Howell, he was in LA to meet with another person and a collaborative attack on the gay community in both Florida and Los Angeles. So time will tell. I don't know if this is what truth, the validity of it, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me that how far this administration will go to try to influence people. So what we have in also in the news. Here we go. Let's see this. Apparently I went to earlier. I was talking about the reporter that got PTSD. Well, apparently he's ironically, he's firing back. He's making a gun response. Apparently, New York Daily News reporter who said that his experience with an AR-15 style rifle gave him temporary PTSD said Wednesday that he had never received so much hate mail in 3 decades in journalism. He goes, I don't mind spirited debate, but many correspondents told me that they're even expressing an opinion about today's high-powered weaponry is off-limits to those of us who don't know such guns, wrote the Daily News. Gersh Kuntzman. He claimed he received emails calling him a liar and challenging his masculinity, often in graphic terms that would sound more appropriate in a magazine about erectile dysfunction and an ad for Depends. It said one reporter reportedly called him a sissy, another one referred to him as a cupcake, and yet another one called him a effing PU, you know what I mean, PU blank blank Y. And that's the printable stuff, he says. To summarize, one line of argument suggests that he's not a real man because I'm frightened by the awesome power of the AR-15, which, despite however you willfully misread my story, can discharge dozens of rounds in mere seconds. No, it can't. The AR-15 cannot. You would, if in just seconds, if you were say dozens of rounds, so that's multiple dozens. So you would say in just a couple seconds, it'd have to shoot 24 rounds. Unless you have a finger that can go that fast, you have to pull it. Every time you pull a trigger is when it fires a round. It's not a machine gun. But Kuntzman said in the article published Tuesday that his first experience with the semi-automatic rifle left him horrified. It feels like a bazooka. God, this guy is a dork because he's never held a gun. And sounds like a cannon, he wrote. The explosions like a bomb gave me temporary PTSD for at least an hour after firing the gun for just a few times. I was anxious and irritable. I just find it so hard to believe because there's no way. It said Mateen was armed with a handgun and a 6-hour MCX rifle, which fires 5.56 NATO. Though the 6-hour, much like an AR-15, it is a different class of rifle altogether. Kuntzman explained he wanted to figure out what it is about semi-automatic rifles, like the one that Mateen, that appeals to gun owners. And he said he hoped his experience would shed light on the matter. Well, he says it left him with emotional scars. Give me a break. This guy is... I'm sorry. You know, it's hard to believe. To me, it felt like a bazooka. All right. I bet he played with frickin' Barbie Dream Dollhouse when he grew up. Sorry. He probably never played any baseball. Never got hit with a baseball. So, yeah. You know, I'm not a big hunter. I don't like to go hunting, but I feel I should be able to protect my family with I choose. So, it says, here's one that came out, and it was like, what it's like arguing gun control with a liberal every time. And it's a little cartoon, and it's got a husband and wife sitting back and forth from each other. And it says, after the Orlando shooting was obviously needed to ban automatic weapons. And then the husband says, they're already banned. And it says, well, we need to do more background checks. And it says, we did. We actually worked, or he actually worked for the government and was contracted under Homeland Security. Well, we need to ban AR-15s like the shooter used. The shooter didn't use an AR-15. He used a Sig Sauer MCX carbine, completely different gun. And then the next one, it says, "You're a homophobe." And he goes, "Yeah, right." And that's about exactly what it is. It goes to about that much of an argument. You know, we don't care what facts that we bring to you. Your facts mean nothing to us. Our facts mean everything. So, yeah, you shake your head. So, and this weekend, apparently Obama is traveling to Yosemite. So, in other words, he's going to shut down the whole park for himself. So, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, well, let's go to Yosemite, kids. Oh, what? We can't get in? We drove all this way? And he flew in and, yeah. It says, let's see here. There was another article I wanted to talk. Well, ABC has that show BattleBots that's coming back again. I don't know if anybody's seen that. They're these robots that they make, and they fight each other. Pretty cool. But it's a 2-hour show. I don't know how you get that excited about a 2-hour show about BattleBots, because they too much build up in them. I mean, if you got to see them constantly just go out and fight each other, that'd be neat. You know, I don't know what one of those costs, but they're pretty impressive. You know, some of the designs that are involved in it. But, yeah, apparently coming up, next Thursday, got a 2-hour premiere. It says ABC BattleBots. That's what they call them. Also, apparently Justin Bieber had a concert, and I had to laugh because he fell through a trap door. Of course, as you now know, I'm not a big Justin Bieber fan, and I remember when he was here, and he went into Walmart. I think it was Walmart or Target. That was back when I used to go to Target. And he bought a watermelon, walked out in the parking lot, and spiked it right outside the door. And then he was at, I think it was Toys R Us, and he was riding the bikes around in the store, just being a total douchebag. And I just don't think that, you'd like to do is just do one of those where you stick your arm out and clothesline them. Kind of like, what is it, The Longest Yard. I think I broke his freaking neck, Yeah, I just hate people like that, where they think that they're so above people that they should be able to do whatever they want. Oh, wait a minute, that sounds like Hillary Clinton. So, yeah, we what is it? I'm wondering when they're going to indict her. And if they don't indict her, then it just tells you that there's two classes of citizen. You and I, and then them. So, it's, let me see. This is, let me see this Kimberly Nix Murray, she posted a thing on there talking about Islam. It says the path of Islam is always the same. Establish a mosque, create an enclave, grow the population, resist the national authorities, institute a Sharia constitution, succeed, and form your own Muslim country. Remember, Afghanistan used to be Buddhist. Pakistan was Hindu. Lebanon was Christian. And now they're all Muslim. So, what's that going to happen for the United States? Won't be long. And I think we had an enabler that was there on purposely to set us there. So, yeah, it won't be long. We're going that direction. And we're going to end up with this story here. You know, you never hear of these stories. You never hear about 12 mass shootings that were stopped by good guys with guns. Pearl High School, October 1st, 1997. Parker Middle School, October 24th, 1998. January 16th, 2002, Appalachian School of Law. If you're wondering about the stories about it, when I get a little bit closer to one, December 9th, 2007, New Life Church. May 27th, 2010, Newark Mills AT&T store. Since that one's 2010, a 79-year-old man entered AT&T store in New York Mills carrying a .357 Magnum revolver in his hand, a list of employees he planned to kill in his pocket. Hearing the cannon go off, Donald J. Moore drew his own personal weapon and killed the gunman before he could complete his plans. One employee was wounded in the shooting. Number 6, Sullivan Central High School, August 30th, 2010. When a 62-year-old man with 2 handguns forced his way into Sullivan Central High School in Tennessee, he was immediately engaged by school resource officer Carolyn Gouger. Gouger put her body between the gunman and a student and started what turned out to be a more than 10-minute gun-to-gun encounter. Gouger used the time to slowly move the man to a less crowded part of the school. When officers arrived on the scene, a brief gun battle erupted, ending with the gunman being mortally wounded. Number 7, Free Will Baptist Church, March 25th, 2012. Aaron Guyton was inside the recreational building of his grandfather's church when he saw Jesse Gates, a member of the congregation, pulling a shotgun from his vehicle. Guyton leaped into action, locking the doors of the church where services were going on. Gates kicked in the door and pointed the shotgun at Reverend Henry Guyton and several parishioners. Drawing his concealed handgun, the younger Guyton held Gates at gunpoint while 2 members of the church took him to the ground. Reverend Guyton then took the shotgun from his hand. Clackamas Town Center Mall, December 11, 2012. 2 people were killed and a third was seriously wounded at Clackamas Town Center near Portland, Oregon. One rifle-toting gunman opened fire in the busy food court. Nick Melly, a shopper at the mall, drew a personally owned firearm on the gunman, immediately retreated to a service corridor and killed himself. Mealy did not fire his weapon for fear of striking bystanders, but yet authorities say his action caused the gunman to cease his attack and end his own life. Number 9, Mystic Strip Club, January 11, 2014. After being refused entry to the strip club for belligerent behavior and racist comments earlier in the night, Thomas Elliott Hillman returned carrying a handgun and wearing a Halloween mask. As soon as he entered the club, he opened fire, striking a bouncer, Brian Rizzo, a patron, and a waitress. Another bouncer, Jonathan Bayer, drew his concealed handgun and shot, killing Hillman. Following the attack, Bayer posted to Facebook, "I did what I felt was right to stop the shooter I carry every day and will continue to. I will so with the hope that I will never have to pull it out again." Number 10, Austin, Texas construction site, April 30th, 2014. An Wright family employee came to the construction site and opened fire on his coworkers. The site's foreman, a concealed handgun license holder, drew his firearm and opened fire. Both men were wounded in the exchange of gunfire, but the foreman's actions ended the attack and no one else was wounded. Number 11, Cache Valley Hospital. May 16, 2014. Armed with 2 handguns, a man entered Cache Valley Hospital emergency room began making demands. After demanding to see a doctor, he racked the slide on one of his handguns and told his hospital employees, someone is going to die today. While a security guard tried to keep the gunman's focus on him, 2 corrections officers who happened to be at the hospital on an unrelated matter engaged from another direction. The gunman was shot 3 times and no people were harmed. And last, Mercy Fitzgerald Hospital, July 25, 2014. A patient at a psychiatric clinic killed his caseworker at point-blank range and turned the gun on his doctor, Lee Silverman, striking him several times before the gunman could leave the office and continued his rampage. Dr. Silverman drew his own concealed handgun and pumped 3 rounds into the gunman's torso, mortally wounding him. Police and the hospital staff hail Dr. Silverman as a hero and a credit with him saving dozens of lives. Think about this. You have to protect your family, protect yourself. Do it. You don't know when something will happen. Don't be that statistic. So, everybody, have a great night, a great week. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And we'll see you on Monday. So, we'll see you when we see you. If the music starts to play.